Howdy folks, TJ here. My thumbnail says TerraMaster is the king of the DAS. We'll talk about that in a moment. That's kind of a bold statement, right? If you're a YouTuber that has run out of space on making lots of videos and you've got umpteen, I've got them behind here. I've got all these little hard drives over the years. I've probably got 5 or 6 or 7 that have stored data. And you say, oh, I'll buy this new terabyte one and it will store tons of stuff. I'll never need another one. And then you fill that up and then you buy a 2 terabyte and then a 4 terabyte and you keep running out of space. Even if you're not a YouTuber, but a home user that has lots of videos, maybe you've got a home theater and then you're storing and streaming lots of videos and stuff, you start running out of space, right? And you need more. And you always need more. So I'm never again going to say, oh, this 12 terabyte that I just put in here, and we'll talk about that in a second, will be as much as I ever need, because it's not true. But let's chat. TerraMaster. I have now owned this hybrid D5 for a year this month. And I've made a number of videos on an unboxing of it, a first setup, a test and use, and then I think even during the process, I also made one for kind of a longer term. Well, now it's a year, so I'm going to do a longer term and chat about this and how well it's performed for me. And then finally, I was able to save up enough pennies to afford buying some hard drives and NVMe cards or devices for the lower D8. So we're going to be having some fun on TerraMaster, and I really feel, not just as a customer, but kind of exploring all the different options, I love the way and the direction TerraMaster's going. They seem a little bit different. There's tons of bays out there, hard drive bays that you can buy, that you can put multiple hard drives in. Some of them have RAID capabilities, but none of them that I saw, at least up to date, up to now, and I haven't explored deeply, but the unique thing about these hybrid is it offers connection of an older SATA style hard drive that are fairly cheap to buy in umpteen terabytes of size, and for fast, what they call hot storage, things that you're working on actively that you don't want to go cold storage to the old SATA drives for just old backups. You can put these faster NVMe devices in it as well and be able to work from them in a workflow situation like I'm doing, like maybe you, if you're a YouTuber, are doing, or if you just make videos. You need tons of hard drive space, and it's nice if you can run off of an external device for hot working stuff that you're doing actively now, and I'll chat about that more. I have up behind me, I don't know how clear it's coming in, but a website, TerraMaster, which is Terra hyphen or minuside hyphen, is that the hyphen? Oh yeah, hyphen, master.com. And I own 2 devices. This top one's called the Hybrid 5. Why 5? Because it's got 5 bays. There's 2 big bays that you can store old SATA hard drives on. You can also do the 3.5 or 2.5 inch. You can also put faster a type of SSDs in there as well, because they make 2.5 SSDs, so you can mount them in these brackets if you need. For me, I wanted to have these bays as much as I could afford, bigger size drives, and at the time, a year ago, I purchased 2 4 terabyte, thinking, oh, that's plenty, right? And it has been fine. But it's 2 old clunky hard drives. I don't care about how fast they are, as long as they're generally quiet and they can store lots of videos over time. The same device has 3 slots that you can't see, but if you go back and watch my old videos, there's a side door over here that comes off, and I have 3 NVMe slots. Inside of it, I've only been able to afford putting one terabyte NVMe in there for what they call hot storage. Hot storage means actively, it's hot, you're working on it, you need to be accessing it quick and back and forth. But over time, you want to purge that 1 terabyte or whatever size you have to these drives for long-term storage. So what I've been doing in the last year on my Mac Pro 2013, I've been using these as basically a backup for what I'm storing on my 1 terabyte here. And also the way that I've formatted it in Disk Utility on my Mac, I basically have it partitioned in a way that I can throw some things over there periodically that I just want to have a backup. I've done this in RAID 1. RAID 1 means this is mirrored on this, which is a good, safe way to, if one of these drives bites the dust, you've got another one to fall back on. Now, there's other RAID options, like RAID 0, which basically ties these two together in a more higher speed capability. But I do not care for that and do not want that. I want backup in safety mode to have stuff I can grab at a later time. So RAID 0 is, RAID 1, excuse me, is what I'm doing here. Did I just have that all backed up? So RAID 1 is what I'm using on these. RAID 0 is when you have no redundancy, no mirroring. So I'll have to go back and watch my video and make sure I clarify that. RAID 1. So it's been working great. My old Mac Pro is only, it's older Thunderbolt. So I had to do the Thunderbolt C type of adapter to be able to connect to this. And it's basically double the speed in my configuration and connection to the old SATA drives. The old SATA drives were running about 180 megabytes per second type of speed, which is not horrid, but it's not great. You typically wouldn't want to work off that. My NVMe slots were running at between 400 and 500, which is definitely usable for high definition video working directly from them. And if I have a faster, newer Mac Pro 2019 over here that has true Thunderbolt connectivity and true USB-C built in, I can get 900 megabytes per second off of this. So and for 4K video or faster. So this little doohickey, a 5-bay, 2 older technology, I'll call it SATA hard drives, 3 of the newer, faster NVMe. It's been working a charm on my older Mac Pro 2013, as well as my new Mac Pro 2019. Works great, but there's only 2 bays here. So there's some other computers in the house that I would love to back up periodically, not daily, not weekly, but periodically. So what's my option? Well, this Hybrid D8 is the newest one I acquired last year, midsummer, and I made an unboxing video and said eventually I will put this one into action. Well, I finally purchased 2 12 terabyte SATA hard drives, the old 3.5 drives, and I slapped them in bays 1 and 2. 1 and 2 are the ones that you can RAID, which is great. 3 and 4 you cannot RAID internally here, but software RAID you can. So when people were saying, oh, that's kind of why are these only 2 RAIDable? Well, at this point, the way that they've designed this 8-bay is there's 4 bays for the older 2.5-inch or 3.5-inch SATA-style drives or SSD-style drives. Over here, the same little panel, just everything's a little wider and bigger, comes off, and it has 4 NVMe slots. This time around, I was able to afford 2 12 terabyte SATA drives and 2 1 terabyte NVMe cards, PCI. What's the NVMe M2 over here? 2 of them. So I got 2 terabytes now of hot storage that I can do stuff to. Maybe I want to use 1 on my older Mac Pro periodically and 1 on my newer Mac Pro 2019. Or maybe I want to boot Windows or something else on it. I've now got 2 in here that I could do hot, need now, fast as I can go, 900 megabytes per second, and I'll show you the speed test here in a moment, which is plenty fast for your typical high definition 4K, which is what most of us here are probably doing. You can even go as high as 8K working directly from this if you needed. Now, these are not Thunderbolt ports. These are not the high 40 megabytes per or gigabit per second type of devices, but for the commoner, like you, like me, 10 gigabits per second transfers are plenty, or communication is plenty for 4K and HD, which is what I'm doing. So this has been working great. It's now been a year. It's dead quiet. The 2 hard drives, now I'll admit, I did not purge or splurge for brand new SATA drives. On Amazon and eBay, you can buy server, number of year old, refurbished, they call them, or renewed SATA drives. I've had pretty good luck so far with buying them. These older ones are dirt quiet. These newer ones I just purchased, on their startup, they're a little louder, but in general use as they get running along, they're perfectly fine. And these things do put them to sleep. So it's not like you're hearing it all the time. And again, it's for long-term storage. So if I want to just turn it off and not have anything running at all, fine. But if you're going to do the hot storage from these, then you need them turned on. You need to do your thing. But it's still relatively quiet. It's as quiet as the fans in these, which are dead quiet, and as quiet as the hard drive that you put in them. If you put old noisy ones, server ones that are, who cares how loud, well, you're going to get a little bit louder. But the new ones that I purchased are not too bad. This is turned on right now, so I don't want to take them out. But it's easy to set up. Watch the video as I made for this. The setup of this is the same. It is very simple. You slap a toolless design. This top one I don't have open or turned on. But these drives are in here. There's toolless little plastic things that come off that you lock into place. So it's really easy to put drives in. You don't need screwdrivers or anything like that. Same as down here, and it works a treat. Even me, although I'm kind of techie. I was going to say I'm not techie, but I am. Past life, I was in technical support, actually at Apple for a while. And I had my own company providing support for retail stores with computers. So I'm not adult, but I'm not a rocket science person either. So, but I learned things, and I enjoy learning stuff about them. Let me take this one off so you can see the screen a little better. And what I'm going to do, let me focus in on the screen. I'm just going to run a quick test. This is turned on. Is it turned on right now? It's dead quiet. They're asleep. But you'll see everything is mounted. Let me go ahead and... Can you even hear it? It's coming up to speed. If you've got a desk that's a little rattly, it makes a little bit of noise, but it's not too bad. Let me go ahead and close out of this web browser, and I'm going to focus it on the screen. So the D5, perfect. If you don't need a 4-bay device, the 2-bay with 3 NVMe slots, beautiful. They sell on Amazon right now as of this recording for about $220. And then you need to buy your storage. Storage is relatively cheap. The 1 terabyte NVMEs, I purchased 2 1 terabyte for under $100. They were about $50 a piece. SATA drives, a 12 terabyte, still a little, not too bad, but it's about $100 for a 12 terabyte SATA drive. That's a lot of storage. I'll never need another bigger one again. I'm a liar. I'll probably need a 20 at some point. But let me go ahead and launch and close these things down. Let me launch this and go focus in on the screen. And I'm going to actually bring this in a little closer. You're not going to see it perfectly, but I think you'll see it close enough. Let me turn off this lighting back here and focus in on the screen. I think you'll get the gist. So on a Mac, this is a Mac Pro 2019. It's got true USB-C ports and Thunderbolt ports and all that fun stuff. Technically Thunderbolt ports, but same connector. I've just connected it with the cable that came with my D8 hybrid. Again, 4 bays for the older SATA and SSD drives, or the bigger, blockier ones, and then NVMe slots, which is basically like a gum pack from the olden days. What gum did I like? I forget what gum, bubble yum. Anyway, they're pretty small sticks. I'm going to go ahead and select on this disk test. I'm going to go up and select the target drive. For the heck of it, let's do the SATA drive first. And I'm going to select the TerraMaster, and I'm going to click Open and Start. So these are going to be in the 200 range, which is pretty dang good, in my opinion. And it's going to tell you down here with the little green things what it's safe to kind of expect to be able to use for video work. Blackmagic RAW, ProRes or H265. Probably most of you are 264 or 265. Some of you may be ProRes, but all of these 4K at 2160p 25, this speed that it's doing, which is 226 megabytes per second write, 200 and looks like it's going to be 240 range for the read. Pretty dang good. We'll let it go through one more cycle, but it is good enough for 4K on this if you really had to, at 25 frames per second. Me, I prefer, I'm a 30 frame per second guy. I don't know why, but I am. But you can see this is pretty decent speed on this setup here. So let me go ahead and stop this. We're going to go up to File and select Target. This time, I named my NVMe cards. That's the ones in here. I've got a USB-C cable that came with this D8 connected to my Mac Pro. Let's go ahead and select one of them. Open and start. Look at the speed now, 900 plus megabytes per second on write, 921.1. You'll see everything is pretty much green other than this 12K ProRes down here at the very bottom. I don't know if the camera is seeing that, but you can see everything is green. The read is 916, so well over 900 megabytes per second, which is what this is rated at. If you go to the TerraMaster website, it talks about what to expect from your SATA and NVMe cards. Now you can, if you wanted to, on these old SATA drives, instead of doing the RAID 1 like I've done, you could do the RAID 0, which ties the two drives together, but there's no redundancy. If you lose one drive, you're history. But you could technically get double the speed out of it. So those 200s would probably be 300 to 400 range. I don't need that. I've got NVMe slots. I can get 800, 900. This time it was 830. So it looks like it's running through various tests. Needless to say, 900 plus megabytes per second. That is screaming fast. You can directly video edit and scrub your timeline and do any type of video you pretty much want off of this setup. Do you need a NAS instead of a DAS? Let me go ahead and stop this recording and move the camera back and turn the lighting on, because we'll wrap up kind of this video. I wanted to kind of do a general update on how things are progressing for me. And I am tickled pink. Do I feel that the TerraMaster is the king of the DAS? For me, yes. I like the design of them. I like the ease of use of them. I like the hybrid idea of them, having partial, older, slower, clunkier, but cheaper to buy big old hard drives to slap in here. The fan is dirt quiet, so just make sure to buy a semi-decent SATA drive so it doesn't make your ears bleed from the noise from them. And then it's got the faster NVMe, and the price of them for generic ones, like I said, I bought two 1 terabyte for a total of $100, $50 a piece. That is dirt cheap. So anyway, I'm loving it. TerraMaster, I feel, I just like the design of them. There's other bays out there that look cool, but the TerraMasters look great, and they work good. They're silent. They're quiet. I have some other bays in the house that I've used over the years. You turn them on and you can hear the fans, always. I never hear these fans. It's kind of like, are you there? Are you turned on? I got to look at the lights to make sure they're on. It puts the hard drives to sleep when you need to. And I just love the design of it and the ease of use. If you're a Mac head like me, I use Disk Utility. And as a side note, just because these two are the only ones rated via hardware, what do I want to do? I want to use these two in the future to back up these, for example. I can use the software side. You could use RAID and basically copy this stuff over to here if I wanted to. And then have these to where, well, I can periodically take it out and store it in a fire-safe box. I'm in California, so we got bad fires here, for backup measures, because these are backing each other up. So that's good. But you want to take an off-site backup, or in my case, a firebox. So maybe periodically I want to back up these on here. So I can go out in the future, maybe in a year or two, I can afford a 24 terabyte drive, slap one in over here and back up these or something like that. So anyway, I'm just loving TerraMaster. I love the design of it and I love the use of it. They're quiet. So far, I've had zero problems with my hybrid D5. The D8 is now going to be in the picture. So what am I going to be doing? I'm going to have this D8 run directly connected to my Mac Pro 2019, a recent purchase for me. It was Christmas, a present from me to me, and I decided to upgrade, but I'm going to still use my older Mac Pro 2013, and I'm going to use this little guy for it, so I can have two setups completely running 24/7, and this one down here, if I want to slap some single drives in here, maybe I want to buy a 20 terabyte sometime later this year and use that to back up my wife's Mac Pro over there. She's got a 2013 Mac Pro. I can back it up to there. All sorts of options. So I love that I now have a 8 bay, four here for a total of 8. It's just going to give me a lot of things. And I don't have all these. Here's just right here alone on this desk. I've got two 1 terabyte drives on the ready. I no longer really need these unless I need some portability of something. So it's pretty cool having something like this. Is a NAS in my future? I own an older Zyxel 2-bay NAS. So I'm hoping in the future I will get a TerraMaster and I'll explore TerraMaster because I'm loving this brand so far. They do make NASs. In the world of NAS, Synology and QNAP are two that come to mind that are quite popular. TerraMaster, in my opinion, is just as good, and they're a little cheaper that I see, and so far my use of them has been pretty good. So anyway, thanks for watching the video. This was kind of an update, a little test to show you how fast these can be. No, it's not Thunderbolt 40 gigabits per second, but 10 is quite speedy, and as you can see, for the commoner like you, like me, perfect for a YouTuber, perfect for a home user. DASs obviously are not networked. Of course, you can network your Mac and be able to see it over your wireless network in the house if you really had to. But if you want to have a NAS so you can access it from the rest of the house, I haven't needed that big time yet, but I'm thinking in the future I will. So I'll explore TerraMaster when that time comes. But anyway, for now, the DAS, direct attached storage, TerraMaster is king in my book. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day. Bye.